Hello, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to the share learning of Sipuri Maisius, the story of the wise man and the simpleton. So let's just find out where the text is, and there we go. Okay. So, as we said, by the way, Rabbi West, can you hear me well? Okay, it's okay. Just you can nod with your head. Okay. So he said he took a wagon. The wagon took him to Spain. We said that where Italy is the source of Aesop, Rome, Spain is the home of philosophy. Even Gedolei Israel at the time was the golden age of Judaism in Spain. Many of them fell into learning philosophy, even interpreting the Torah into philosophy. The people B'Kedusha and Rabbeinu warned very much not to learn the Pirusha like the Barbanel, which is obviously a Kodesh. Rabbeinu says don't learn it because it's based, it's philosophically oriented. Stay away from it. There's no, and obviously also, the guide for the perplexed of the Rambam. This is don't just stay away from it. Just the Rambam is the Rambam. The guide of perplexed is something else. Don't touch it. It's not Nagia to us. Hashem knows what was his kavanah, but it's based on philosophy and it's not for us. It's a lot easier to understand the questions that the Rambam asks there than the answers that he answers. As a result, you're staying with a question without an answer, and that leads to heresy. So just there's no need for that. Okay, so he's going to Spain now. He's a philosopher. Years passed. In the process, he became much more sophisticated from being in so many countries. And he thought to himself, now it is proper for me to consider life's goal. Now, with his philosophy, he began to think what to do. It seems proper to him to learn to be a goldsmith, which is an important fine work, requires wisdom, and it's a profitable work. Now, the simpleton became a shoemaker. He doesn't want to have such a simple malacha. He wants something sophisticated, something important, something profitable. Being a goldsmith, B'Kedusha, means that you're mantik, the gvuras, the judgments. It's a big avodah B'Kedusha. As he was intelligent and a philosopher, it did not take him many years to learn the trade. In a merely quarter of a year, he acquired the skills and became a very great craftsman. He was more proficient in the work than the craftsman who taught him. Afterwards, he thought to himself, even though I possess the skill, this is not sufficient for me. Today, this will be considered prestigious. Perhaps at another time, something else will be considered prestigious. And he went and apprenticed with a gem cutter. Now, due to his intelligence, he acquired the skill in a short time, a quarter of a year. Now, B'Kedusha, these are all things that denote either the amelioration and the sweetening of judgments. Gems, as we learned, is finding the good in every single Jew. B'Kedusha, these are very, very high things. And he thought to himself with his philosophy, even though I possess these two skills, Who knows? Perhaps neither of them will be considered prestigious. It would be good for me to learn a profession that is always esteemed. And he sought with his intelligence and his philosophy to learn medicine, which is something that is always in demand and respected. In the course of learning medicine, it is first necessary to learn Latin and writing and philosophy. And because of his intelligence, he learned even this in a very short time, a quarter of a year. He became a great doctor and a philosopher and wise in all the wisdoms. And right now, the result was that the world started to appear as nothing in his eyes. I mean, who is compared to me? Come on. Because of great wisdom, since he was such a great craftsman and such a wise doctor, everyone in the world was like nothing to him. Okay, so let's talk about this for a little minute here. First, we said that he wants to learn gold, and he just did it in a quarter of a year. So we said that it's such a big chokhmah. The gold denotes the alludes to tzimtzumim and dinim. In the gvuras and tzimtzumim, there's tremendous wisdoms in there. When a person has a munah that Kadosh Baruch Hu sweetens the world, the Kadosh Baruch Hu runs the judgments of the world, and the Kadosh Baruch Hu obviously owns the gold. Through this, a person is able to ameliorate and to sweeten the dinim and the gvuras. When a person does that, he discovers the seichel of those tzimtzumim. And he can get a tremendous asagas. Hashem will learn in a story from a melech ano, from a humble king. Hashem will get to that. And being a goldsmith, b'kedusha, is means that you are refining and you are working, the gold. You're purifying the gold from the impurities, which means that you see in the gold the hashgacha of Hashem Yisbarach, and that gets a person a tremendous precious asagas. It's a great malacha, and this chacham wanted to be osik with that, so he was osik in this chacham, and then he said, even though I have this malacha, still this is not enough. Today this is prestigious, it's important, maybe tomorrow it won't be important anymore. So we find over here that the Chacham is not satisfied with what he has. He doesn't feel satisfaction with what he has. That's why this tremendous avodah that he had, of working with gold, was not something that shown to him. He was busy thinking about what melacha will be prestigious in a different time. Rabbeinu has taught us that you always have to look at what is the goal of the present situation. And if it's a hard work, don't be lazy, don't stop working, and just, going looking for different matters. Same thing applies for polishing gems. Polishing gems, as we said before, this is finding the good points in every Jew. And when you're a mechazik person with nekudas tevus, you mamach inject them with life. It's tremendous. You reveal the goodness in them, the pride that Hashem takes in each and every one of them. This is what Yosef Atzadik used to do. The Chacham wanted to do that as well. Now, the only caveat here is that, it's like when you do tshuva and you decide, like a couple of days after you entered, you want to learn Kabbalah. What could be wrong with Kabbalah, right? I mean, tremendously holy melacha, right? Kabbalah is a chachma. The fact that you keep on looking for something else, that even though the Kabbalah is an incredibly important thing, obviously, the Kodesh Kodeshim, and even learning Gemara with the Rishonim and the Achronim and Steigen and Pilpo, whatever it is, tremendously holy things. But when nothing is enough for you, so maybe sometimes that won't be enough. That denotes that there is a pgam, there is a blemish in the very premise, in the approach. The approach is, Hashem is missing in this approach. Your heart pulls you to learn gold, fine. Stick with it. Something else will be important. What's going to be important? It's always going to be gold. It's always going to be important. If you want to deal with gems, fine. Tremendous avodah, bidaner, kafschos, and everything. Still, he's miyash himself with his philosophy. Something. Who knows? Now I have these two malachos. Maybe they will both will go out of style. So a Berlin, something that was always needed. For medicine. Here we're talking about, obviously, to be in Kedusha means roif nefashis. It's a healer of souls. That's what tzaddikim do. They heal the neshamas of Am Yisrael and turn all the yeridas to gdolos. Shaka. That they turn the wound into Kedusha. Moshe Rabbeinu all of a sudden, switched Am Yisrael from the 49 gates of Tumah to 49 gates of Kedusha. And then, because every time he was not satisfied with that which he was facing right then and there, he started looking for something better. There's no tmimis there. That's why the entire world becomes like nothing for him. Anybody who has tmimis, anybody who does whatever he can for the kavod of Hashem Yisborach, the higher he goes, the more madrigas he has, the wiser he gets, the more he feels the greatness of Hashem and his own littleness, his own smallness, until he himself becomes like a nothing, like somebody who doesn't exist. That's the shleimus of the Anava. But the Chacham, because he was filled with Chochmas. Let's calculate maybe this. Let's calculate the pros and cons here. See everything. Is this going to pay off? It's not going to pay off. It's going to be important. It's not going to be important. It's going to be prestigious. It's not going to be prestigious. It makes a lot of money. It doesn't make a lot of money. With this he became a Baal Gaiva. He became, deriding everybody like they don't exist, until the entire world, become like a no to him. And he would deride anybody who is below him. And while at it, Rabbeinu alludes to, with his great wisdom, that the Chacham wasn't like openly making fun of the entire world. To say, listen, everybody's stupid. I'm the only, I'm the only wise one. Because that's a thought of stupid people. It's megalomania. It's nonsense. It's just he's looking at every single person in on his own. Every single person that he met is nothing. That and what Rabbeinu is telling us, that anybody who thinks like this is a Baal Gaiva. He is a Meshugana. This is the one of the amazing points that you take a look and you see for everybody around, newspapers, whatever. Everybody is expressing supposed, self-satisfied, quote-unquote, wisdom. And newspapers, media, whatever it is, and all the time we'll notice as becomes the occupation of the Chacham, to talk about how wrong and foolish everybody is. To expose the lie. How everybody else is lying. Everybody else is mistaken. Everybody else doesn't know what's what. I'm the only one who knows what it is. And if you want to find out what goes on, you come to me and you ask me and I'll tell you. Now, as we speak about this, it's very easy to come to the conclusion that we're talking about somebody else, right? He is the sophisticate. He is. Soon as at Hashem we will learn about the tam, about the simpleton, and we'll see that he holds in a level of tmimus that is way beyond us. So we're looking at the sophisticate, and that's not us. And then we'll look at the tam, and we said, that's definitely not us. We're not holding it. We are reading it in a story. Obviously, we understand, the foolishness of the sophisticate and the wisdom of the simpleton, because we are reading it in a story, and we know who the good guy is and who the bad guy is, because it's being put up for us, very, very clearly. But in real life, it's not that simple. In real life, we behave a lot like the sophisticate. We behave a lot, sometimes a lot, a lot, like the simpleton. In fact, we mostly behave like the sophisticate and a little bit like the tam. The way that we behave like the tam is the fact that we are close to Rabbeinu. This is it. Any which way that we take a look at someone and realize that they ain't where it's at, we are being the sophisticate. Every time that we are worried, something, maybe maybe this particular malacha that I'm dealing with, that's whatever it is I'm dealing with, is not going to be, that marketable. It could be a chokhmah, it could be a profession, it could be even avodas Hashem. Maybe that won't be one in demand. That means that we are filled with chokhmas. We're looking at things through the prism of sophistication, over sophistication. It's a lack of tmimus. As we will soon see, the immediate effect that all this has on the Chacham is making him totally miserable. Because if I'm never happy where I'm at, and I'm looking to become something else, so how can I possibly be happy? Because I don't get satisfaction from being who I am, because I'm looking for something else. And I cannot get satisfaction from being someone else because I'm not yet someone else. I'm not yet somewhere else. I'm in limbo. I'm neither here nor there. Whenever it is that I find myself unhappy, when I find myself thinking, something, maybe that won't be that important. That won't be, maybe I need something else as an insurance, to spiritually, physically, whatever it is, financially, whatever, that means I fell into sophistication. There's, in the parables that Rabbeinu said after the stories, there's a story about what Rabbeinu calls Ma'aseh Ba'al Bitochen, a person that bitochen. And that particular story says that the king wanted to find out if there's anybody in the land that felt as secure as he did and was happy as he was. And so in the evenings he would go out into the city and he heard how people in their homes, they're whining, and they're, during the day, they're playing it, big and confident, but behind the scenes, they're all broken, they'll have. And then he came to a house, a ramshackle, and he heard a music coming from within. So he knocked on the door, and a person opened the door, and he comes in. There's a person sitting a Suda with a violin. He's playing music. He's sitting a Suda. He's very happy. So he asked the person, what do you do? He says, he's fixing things that need to be fixed. At the end of the day, he's making a Suda every day. He takes the money to make that day. He's making a Suda. So the king says, you're so certain? So the king said, something? He comes out with a decree and he says, from now on, people do not give anything to be fixed. And he comes to the house of this person again the next day. And he sees again, he's sitting with the Suda, playing the violin, being happy. He says, how could you do that? People do. The king said that people should not give stuff to be fixed. He says, yeah, I know. Yeah, I went out and I saw a neighbor of mine who has the shed full of goats, So, and it needed to be cleaned out. Asked him if it needs to be cleaned out. He said, yeah, I cleaned it out for him. He gave me the money. I bought the myself Suda and I'm having a good time. I'm celebrating the day. So the king said, another decree. That's it. Everybody's supposed to clean their own goat sheds, whatever. And day by day, he finds another solution. The king, keeps on, saying you can't do that, you can't do that. At the end, he gets conscripted to the army because there's nothing else that he can do. But he makes a t'nai with his commander. He gets paid every day. The king comes to him, he sees he's eating. He says, how can you? He says, well, consider whatever it is. He made a tnai with the commanders, he gets paid every day. The kitzer, he's making a suda celebrating the day, every single day. So the king said to the commander, that's it, you're not paying by the day, you're paying by the week or by the month or whatever it is. So the person had no money to have the suda anymore. So what he did, he took his sword and he broke the blade, and he pawned it and got the money, made a suda. And instead of a blade, he put a piece of wood. So the king comes to visit him and says, how can you do this? Whatever. He told him what he did. So the next day, the king says to the commander, says, take somebody who is was condemned to die, and bring this soldier, that particular person, to execute the prisoner. And he calls all the ministers to come and see, to have fun, to have a little fun. The guy, he knows he doesn't have the sword. He has just a piece of wood. So he calls a person, and he comes, and he said, okay, this person is condemned to die, and you're supposed to execute him. So the person said, but I've never shed blood in my life. How can I do this? The king says, this is it. You're the soldier, you have to do this. So the person said, how do you know that this person is really chayav? Maybe he's innocent. The king says, no, he's not innocent, he's chayav misa, and you're the one who's supposed to execute him. So the person lifts up his eyes to Kadosh Baruch Hu and he says, Ribono shel olam, you know that I've never ever shed blood in my life, let alone of an innocent person. If this person is innocent, please do a miracle that the blade of my sword will become a piece of wood. And he takes out his blade and everybody sees that he's holding a piece of wood. And everybody laughed, and the king saw that he was such a geschmacka person, and he let him go. It's a very strange story. What does the king want from him? Why is he keeping on, blocking all the entrances, all the outlets? Up to the point that he brings him to, to a corner. He corners him to the path. He cannot escape anymore. Lemaisa, he brings him to the point where the person turns to Kadosh Baruch Hu. The Kadosh Baruch Hu is the king that constantly turns us, you can't go here, and you can't go here, and you can't go here, and you can't go here. You only can go to Kadosh Baruch Hu. But throughout the story that Rabbeinu is telling, we find something else. Rabbeinu says, he calls him Maisami Baal Bitochen, somebody who has Bitochen. What he does, the Maisa Baal Bitochen, is not that he has an answer every single day. Being a Baal Bitochen means that in the middle of the storm, there's always the eye of the storm, which is totally calm. There is a point of inner peace in the greatest turmoil. The inner peace in the turmoil is that every single day needs to be celebrated. You daven today, you made mitzvahs today, you were alive, you didn't do averis, and if you did, you'll do tshuva. And you always and will always celebrate the day. You lived another day for Kadosh Baruch Hu. The other problems? Okay, so you have to make a shtadlus. You're not responsible for the shtadlus. Yeah, I mean for the results. You're only responsible for the shtadlus. That's it. You don't have to worry. This will work. This will not work. This will be important. This will not be important. The only thing is that you are already a success. You're holding now at the end of the day. Baruch Hashem, you davened 3 times today. Better, worse, whatever it is, you davened. You learned some Torah today, more, less, you learned. You put on tefillin today. When you ate, you made brachas. You have a munah. If you are celebrating the day, and when difficulties come your way, you just ride the crest. You ride it. Okay. You keep on going, and you keep on going, you keep on going. Ultimately, the king of the story, of our particular story, remember, we said that person was a person who fixes things, broken things. Okay? At the culmination of the story, the king fixes him because it's no longer, okay, no problem. I'm happy for the day and I'll just to tomorrow do something else. There is no way to go. You have to execute that particular condemned person, and you can't execute him because you don't have a sword. But there's no way out. By turning a Kodesh Baruch Hu, the person also saves the king. How? Because obviously the condemned was really innocent. He didn't have a sword. He didn't make a cheshbon. I'll have a sword. He didn't. He just went straight, simple. Everybody fixed everybody here. But the name of the game is find this nakuda of peace when you're in a situation where you don't know what the solution is going to be. You don't know what the solution is going to be. You really don't know. You need a solution. You don't know what the solution is going to be. Okay. There are 2 principles. A, if you need to make a shtadlus, make the shtadlus. Don't give up. Make the shtadlus. B, if there's nothing you can do, you don't need to make a shtadlus. You turn to Kadosh Baruch Hu. There's a story, I think, I don't know if it was the Shini Verov, the son of Chaim, of Tzanta Divrei Chaim. I think this is what it was. And it was great poverty, and, other people, ate by him, and whatever it is. And came time to make a chasana, and there was nothing. There was absolute nothing. And things were harder than ever, and he was just sitting in his chambers. He was sitting and learning. Hashem was happy. The hardest thing became, the happier he was. So his brother came to visit him, and they were sitting together, learning Torah, whatever. And then the wife, she never told her brother-in-law, the situation. It's very, very hard. They have to make a chassan. They have absolutely nothing. And his brother is not doing anything, just sitting in his room learning, and happy as a lark. So he asked his brother, "What's gives? How come You're not doing. So he told him, look, when there's something for me to do, ishtadl is for me to be mishtadl, then I do it. This situation right now is so way beyond me that, there's nothing, there's no ishtadlus for me to do. So this means the Kadosh Baruch Hu's domain. He will send the Yeshua. It's an incredibly important inyan to remember. Either you do the ishtadlus, or you rely on Kadosh Baruch Hu. Worrying does not solve anything. Worrying is the only thing it does is handcuffs you. It paralyzes your mind to see the possibilities. When you see this beyond you, say, what can I do? Help me out. And that's it. If the Shtadlus works, Vakasha. Our major problem is that we need Yeshuas all the time. We need deliverance all the time. And the thing is that we get deliverance all the time. So why are we not happy? We're not happy because we have a certain kind of image. We project such a vision of how my delivery will come. I will win the lottery, or somebody will come and give me a job, or this or that, whatever it is. We have a certain kind of vision of how the ideal deliverance looks like. The actual deliverance doesn't look like that. But the deliverance is coming. It just doesn't look, I don't recognize it for the deliverance I was looking for. Because it doesn't look like the deliverance I was banking on. So what happens is that I'm delivered, I get to Yeshua, and says, what about this? Okay, Baruch Hashem, then it was done. But now I have other problems. I have other problems that need to be solved. So I don't have time to be happy for having been delivered from the first problem. Leaning back and finding the point of peace in my situation. But tzarich haftali. In the straits there are spaces. Where's the space? Where's the peace of mind in the middle of all the problem? We have the story of Kalman Goldschmidt, Zichron Livrocha. Lived 3.5 years miraculously, laughing all the time. And we have, Rabbi Now Meirav that is going through, very difficult times, and is totally at peace. Hashem. He finds where is the Nakuda of peace here? Because Beidadus, right now he still doesn't have use of his hands and his legs after an operation on his back and all the anamaisa, whatever it is. It's from a person who moved the entire world, as a mover and shaker. He's an invalid. Okay, fine. So that's the life that he leads. They take him in the morning, take him to the invalid mikveh in Bells. He tavels. He goes to Daven Vasikin, making his beidus. He's learning. And you speak to him, he's cool. When I spoke to him, they said that he knows a friend, a Rav, that also lost, you know, uh, the ability to use his hands, I don't know, whatever it is. And he had to be put in diapers. And the day that they put him in diapers, he passed away. He died. He couldn't take it. Obviously, you know, I mean, I was also, you know, if he cannot use his hands, it means that somebody has to change him, right? Fine. If that's the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants, it's okay. He's not broken by what was or by what will be. He's making a Suda to celebrate today. To celebrate today. That's it. That's the biggest problem of sophisticate. Yeah, but what about tomorrow, man? What about tomorrow? Shem Yisbarach Bezrat Hashem will bless us all and allow us the wisdom and the tmimus to celebrate the day. Celebrate today. Whether you succeeded, quote unquote, or didn't succeed, quote unquote, whatever it is, this day is a success. You daven, you learn, Hashem. The world is good. There's a lot to be happy. The happier we manage to be with what we are, who we are, and what we do, the pleasanter life will be. The more we will advance in Avodas Hashem. The happier we'll be able to make the people around us. With Hashem should help us. It's Hashem Wednesday evening. We will learn the Likutei Moharan. Chav Beis, Thursday, Lamed Daled. Be'ezrat Hashem Yisbarach.